I am Stephen Wener of Whistle Realty, brokered by EXP, all things residential real estate. And today I have the pleasure of having a fantastic guest on, Miss India Kern. How are you, India?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. India is a certified divorce coach. And there's a lot of people that don't understand that there's actually coaching available for people that are going through a divorce. And it isn't therapy, it's coaching. So I wanted to introduce you, India, and really just let our listeners understand what does that mean, a certified divorce coach? Because is it a common term out there right now?
Well, it's getting more common.
Okay.
When I went through my divorce in 2011, it was unheard of. I didn't know that there were coaches, and I think there were very, very few of us. So it is definitely getting more common, and there's a difference between therapy and coaching. So
Sure.
Using my experience, back in 2011, I was blindsided by divorce. And so the first thing I did was I went to my therapist, and therapy is great. However, I was learning how or what I missed, like why I married the person I did in therapy. However, my therapist had never been divorced and didn't know the ins and outs and what I needed to do to get from point A to point B. So I felt a loss, like there was something missing. And if I had known about a divorce coach, I would have definitely hired one, because what I did is I fumbled my way through divorce, and it cost me emotionally and financially.
So with your services as a divorce coach,
Mm-hmm.
based on you going through that experience and now helping others through it, your personal journey took about how long for you to fumble through it?
Okay, so that's another great question. I think I took longer than most because I didn't have the tools. I was, in a way, I wouldn't change a thing, because by going through all those setbacks, I was able to understand how I could help people and how I could be the guide that I didn't have.
Yeah.
So it actually became a book. I wrote a book called Surviving the Unwanted Divorce, and that's where I recorded all the things that I did wrong so that the next person could do it right. So that's what I'm saying. I don't regret anything that happened.
Sure.
Because I felt like all that was in my life so that I could help others.
Yep.
And so I come to the table with the experience, but also shortening that time for them. So getting back to your original question,
Right.
How long did it take me? I divorced in 2011. I don't think I was emotionally well till about 2016. So it took me a long time.
Wow.
And I think that's longer than normal, and I don't think there's a set time.
I don't know if there's a normal, really.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can't say, it's going to take X amount of time.
Sure.
I feel like it took me longer because I was trying to figure it out. And I was stumbling, and I often say that I felt underwater.
Okay.
For way too long. And I actually the front cover of my book is heels underwater, because that's the way I felt.
Wow.
But it was necessary for me to be in that position so that I can relate to my clients.
So what are some of the things, if you can share with our listeners, that they can experience should they choose to reach out to you if,
Right,
again,
right.
they're silently suffering or lingering feelings after a divorce, or finding themselves in the middle of one with
Yeah.
the emotional
Right.
battlefield, let's just say, going on between both sides? If you can share with our listeners some
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the peak things that you would be
Absolutely.
able to provide their lives, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, so you're going to go through grief. Grief is a necessary part of divorce, and it's a process. So many times the clients that come to me say, I should be further along in my healing.
Sure.
But actually the answer is no, you shouldn't. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. And this is a process, and it's going to take time. And your number one job is to heal. Now, there's ways that you can go about healing, and there's, looking at the mindset around it. But also, not only is the grief part of the process, you will undergo many times if you're in for me, I was blindsided, right? So I went into survival mode. So my brain actually everything was a threat. Like I was psychologically, physically. So I had to overcome that reptilian brain
Sure.
before I could even start functioning. So depending on where you are in your divorce process, you might be having trouble making decisions, or you might be, in that state that things aren't going well for you because you got to overcome that.
Yeah.
So part of what I do with my clients is we start understanding the fear, because that's the root of all that, right? Fear of not having any money, fear of being lonely. Those are probably one of the, and fear of the kids. Is this going to destroy my kids?
Sure.
So finances, kids, loneliness, top three, right?
Those are all such strong emotional pulls, and they can cause you to go in crazy directions.
Right.
And I don't mean to use crazy in a negative word, but sometimes those emotional pulls really take us into this world that we're like, how am I even here? How am I thinking those things? And then that reptilian part, when everything shuts down and you're just fight or flight trying to survive, when people look at you, they're like, what's wrong with you?
And
right?
you're overwhelmed. You're
Yeah,
overwhelmed by
absolutely.
emotion. And so the chances of you making an emotional decision versus a logical are high.
Yeah.
And so as a divorce coach, I can come alongside you and we start unraveling why you are in this state of fear and how to tackle it. And there's actually mindset strategies that I use with my clients to help them start understanding they have more power than they think.
That's fantastic. It's not the first time I'm meeting India, so she comes to me with a reputation as well. We're in a professional network together, and everything that I've heard, seen, testimonials, it's amazing what you're helping people achieve. And the professional group that we're in, I feel very fortunate to say the professionals are incredible.
Oh, yeah.
So these professionals that are raving about you obviously are providing testimonials based on the services for how you've helped their clients that are suffering and struggling. So if there's anything that you can leave our viewers with that will have them reach out to you, because I believe a lot of people silently suffer, and they don't know where to go
Right.
to heal. So
Exactly.
what can you say to them?
I would say, getting back to what I just said, you're more powerful than you think, and don't give your power away. You don't have to be the victim of this story. You can actually be the hero and create a much better life after divorce.
So India's information, of course, you're seeing it on our screen, but India Kern Coaching. And she's definitely someone that if you're feeling like you're struggling with something, that you haven't moved past something, you're emotionally driven, and you can't find your way out of it, please reach out to India, because she will be your catalyst so that you can get back to living life the way you want to. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show.
I think you're awesome.
Thank you, India. It's my pleasure. Thank you. If you've been getting great value out of these videos, please don't forget to subscribe, click on the thumbs up, and make sure you smash that notification bell so that you can be updated anytime I put out a new video. I look forward to bringing more great content your way.